goes on.
There are times when a woman has to say, waiting for someone to see.
The 1970s, disco balls, platform shoes, bell-bottoms, and big hair. But here's what made this decade truly special. The women who dominated the radio with voices that stopped you in your tracks, then disappeared almost as quickly as they arrived. A former adult film star stranded in Jamaica. A comedian who shocked everyone with a murder ballad. A mother who wrote a lullaby that became #1. Can you name these 15 one-hit wonders? Let's find out. Starting with number 15. Number 15, Doctor's Orders by Carol Douglas, 1974. Before disco took over, artists were laying the groundwork. Carol Douglas recorded Doctor's Orders in 1974, one of the earliest disco hits to cross over to mainstream American pop radio. The premise was clever. A woman visits the doctor complaining of heartache, and the doctor prescribes love as the only cure. Playful, catchy, with that irresistible early disco groove.
Come on home as soon as you can.
The song was actually recorded first by a British singer named Sunny, but Carol brought it to American audiences and made it completely her own with her powerful voice. It climbed to number 11 on the Billboard Hot 100 and became a dance floor staple. Carol never replicated that success, but Doctor's Orders remains a perfect time capsule. This was that transitional moment when disco was just beginning to emerge from New York City clubs and take hold of America. Carol Douglas helped make it happen. But before we dive in, if you love music history and nostalgic deep dives like
with their own version
hit
of
that
more,
subscribe
more,
button
more.
and
Give
tap
them a
the bell
clap.
so you never miss a video. Drop a like if you're ready for some 70s magic, and let us know in the comments which song you think will be number 1. Now let's get started. Number 14, Pillow Talk by Sylvia, 1973. Sylvia Robinson's story is remarkable. Pillow Talk was intimate, sensual, and ahead of its time. Released in 1973, her breathy, seductive vocals sounded like nothing else on radio.
With this pillow talk.
The song hit number 3 on the Hot 100 and topped the R&B charts. Some stations refused to play it, others couldn't stop. The controversy only boosted sales.
Baby, let me stay.
It was controversial for its suggestive content, Sylvia whispering sweet nothings that left little to the imagination, but audiences couldn't get enough of it. After her singing career stalled, she reinvented herself completely. In 1979, she co-founded Sugar Hill Records with her husband, a decision that changed music history. That label released Rapper's Delight by the Sugar Hill Gang, the first hip-hop single to achieve mainstream success. Sylvia didn't just have one hit, she helped launch an entire genre. Number 13, Rockin' Chair by Gwen McCrae, 1975. Miami had its own soul sound in the 70s, and Gwen McCrae was one of its brightest stars. Rockin' Chair used that metaphor to describe a very different kind of motion. The song was sophisticated and suggestive without being explicit. Gwen's powerful voice sold every word. It worked equally well on the radio and in the bedroom. It reached number 9 on the Hot 100 and topped the R&B charts for a week. That Miami soul sound was smooth, sensual, and absolutely irresistible. Gwen was married to fellow soul singer George McCrae, who had his own massive hit with Rock Your Baby in 1974. For a moment, they were soul's power couple. Neither could break through again, but Rockin' Chair has been sampled countless times by hip-hop producers who recognized its timeless groove. That legacy endures.
Good loving, let me be your rocking chair.
Number 12, Got to Be Real by Cheryl Lynn, 1978. If you've been to any wedding, birthday party, or celebration with dancing, you've heard this song. That opening keyboard riff is instantly recognizable. Once it starts, people move. Cheryl Lynn's path began on The Gong Show, believe it or not. She appeared in 1976, won the competition, and landed a recording contract. 2 years later came Got to Be Real. The song reached number 12 on the Hot 100 and topped the dance charts. It was an immediate sensation that captured pure disco joy.
Going to a show tonight after working hard.
Production was handled by David Pyach and David Foster, who'd later find massive success with Toto and as a legendary producer respectively.
What you find, what you be.
It's been sampled by Mary J. Blige, Will Smith, and countless others. Appeared in dozens of movies, Cheryl Lynn owns one of disco's most joyous songs ever recorded. Number 11, Midnight at the Oasis by Maria Muldaur, 1974. One music critic claimed this song was responsible for more pregnancies than any other record of the mid-70s. True or not, Midnight at the Oasis had undeniable seductive power. Maria Muldaur came from the Greenwich Village folk scene, performing alongside Bob Dylan and other legends. But going solo, she created something entirely different.
Send your camel to bed. Shadows.
This was a jazz-influenced, desert-themed fantasy about a romantic encounter under the stars. Send your camel to bed, indeed. It was unlike anything else on radio.
This is a romance in our head.
The song reached number 6 on the Hot 100 and earned Grammy nominations for Record of the Year and Song of the Year. Jimmy Page of Led Zeppelin was reportedly a huge fan.
Midnight at the Oasis.
The guitar solo by Amos Garrett became legendary in its own right. Maria never matched its success, but Midnight at the Oasis remains a one-of-a-kind achievement.
50 girls to attend him. They all send.
Number 10, Lotta Love by Nicolette Larson, 1979. Neil Young wrote this song, but Nicolette Larson turned it into a hit. They'd become friends when she worked as a backup singer in Los Angeles. Neil gave her this generous gift. Lotta Love reached number 8 on the Hot 100 in early 1979. Nicolette's warm, inviting voice gave the song a sweetness that perfectly complemented its simple message.
Change the way things are. It's gonna take a lot of love.
The song was about needing love to get through life, simple but universal. Nicolette delivered it with genuine warmth that connected with millions of listeners.
It's gonna take a lot of love.
She seemed poised for a long career, the voice, the look, the connections. But subsequent singles failed to chart, and she moved primarily into country music by the mid-80s.
So if you look in my direction.
Tragically, Nicolette died in 1997 at just 45. But Lotta Love endures as a beautiful reminder of her talent and Neil Young's generous songwriting gift.
Love, change the way.
Number 9, More by Andrea True Connection, 1976. Here's a story you couldn't make up. Andrea True was a former adult film actress who found herself stranded in Jamaica in 1975. Political unrest meant she couldn't transfer her earnings home. Here's a story you couldn't make up. Andrea True was a former adult film actress who found herself stranded in Jamaica in 1975. Political unrest meant she couldn't transfer her earnings home.
But if you want to know how I really feel,
They recorded with local session musicians. The demo was good enough to land a record deal, and after remixing by legendary producer Tom Moulton, it was released to disco clubs. More became massive. Number 4 on the Hot 100, topped the dance charts. Given her background, people read all kinds of meanings into those suggestive lyrics.
I really feel, just get the cameras rolling, get the action going.
Andrea always insisted it was simply about enjoying life and love. From adult films to Jamaica to the top of the charts, her journey was truly one of a kind.
How do you like it? How do you like it? More. How do you like it?
Number 8, I Love the Nightlife by Alicia Bridges, 1978. Disco needed anthems, and Alicia Bridges delivered one of the best. I Love the Nightlife captured everything exciting about disco culture. The escape, the energy, the freedom of the dance floor.
Please don't talk about being true and all the trouble.
When Alicia sang about preferring boogie on the disco round to staying home alone, millions knew exactly what she meant. This was the sound of liberation.
I got so much to give, I want to give it to you.
The song reached number 5 on the Hot 100 in late 1978, right at the peak of the disco era. Alicia's punchy, powerful vocals drove the track forward with urgency.
On the disco ride.
Alicia was open about her sexuality when that wasn't common in mainstream pop. The song became an anthem in LGBTQ clubs. Before that, community had much chart representation. After disco fell out of favor, Alicia moved into radio and other creative pursuits. But her one major contribution to pop music remains absolutely timeless. Number 7, Emotion by Samantha sang, 1978. Trivia question that stumps everyone. Who sang Emotion in 1978? Most guessed the Bee Gees. They're not entirely wrong. Barry and Robin wrote it. Their backup vocals practically dominate the track. But the lead was Samantha Sang, an Australian singer who'd been working with the Gibbs since the 1960s. They had a long professional relationship. Emotion reached number 3 on the Hot 100, pure Bee Gees' melodic brilliance, an aching ballad about the end of a relationship that showcased their gift for heartbreak.
Someone else you go to find your shine.
Samantha's voice blended so seamlessly with the brothers' harmonies that listeners simply assumed it was another Bee Gees single. That's how dominant they were in 1978.
Instead of me tonight.
They had Stayin' Alive and Night Fever to worry about, so they gave this gorgeous song away. Samantha never found that success again, but what a song to have.
Nobody left in this world to get.
Number 6, If I Can't Have You by Yvonne Elliman, 1978. Saturday Night Fever didn't just make the Bee Gees superstars. It launched Yvonne Elliman to number 1 with this desperate, yearning ballad capturing the heartbreak side of disco.
I'm surviving every lonely day.
Yvonne had already achieved fame as the original Mary Magdalene in Jesus Christ Superstar, both the Broadway production and the 1973 film version. She'd also spent years as Eric Clapton's backup singer, touring the world with one of rock's greatest guitarists. But If I Can't Have You was her commercial peak. It reached number 1 in May 1978. The Bee Gees gave it to her, feeling her voice would better convey its emotional weight. They were absolutely right. Yvonne's performance is raw and vulnerable, the sound of someone who's lost everything and doesn't know how to continue. The anti-disco disco song. Number 5, Don't Leave Me This Way by Thelma Houston, 1977. Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes recorded this first in 1975 with Teddy Pendergrass on lead vocals. but Thelma Houston transformed it into an unstoppable disco anthem. Thelma's version was faster, more urgent, more desperate. Where the original was smooth Philadelphia soul, she made it a cry for help from the disco inferno. Her voice built and built throughout the track, pleading and demanding, ultimately soaring into pure emotional release. It was a vocal performance for the ages. It reached #1 and won her the Grammy for Best Female R&B Vocal Performance. She dominated charts and dance floors in early 1977.
I can't survive. I can't stay alive.
It should have launched a long career. Despite continued recording, Thelma never returned to the top 20. The industry's failure to build on her success remains a missed opportunity.
I can't survive. I can't stay alive.
#4, Torn Between Two Lovers by Mary MacGregor, 1977. This song was controversial when it came out. The lyrics told the story of a woman openly admitting to an affair while still loving her husband. In 1977, that honesty shocked many.
Times when a woman has to say what's on her.
But it also struck a chord with millions who recognize the complicated reality of love and relationships. Sometimes life isn't simple. This song understood that.
Both of you is breaking all the rules.
Written by Peter Yarrow of Peter, Paul, and Mary fame, along with Philip Jarrell, Mary MacGregor was a backup singer who'd worked with Yarrow.
There are times when a woman has to say.
He believed her gentle, vulnerable voice was perfect for the song's confessional tone. He was right. It hit #1 for 2 weeks and topped the country charts too. Mary later admitted she wasn't particularly fond of the song, perhaps the ultimate irony for a performer forever associated with one particular recording, but it resonated with America.
But that doesn't mean I love you less.
#3, Lovin' You by Minnie Riperton, 1975. The whistle register, those incredibly high notes only a handful of singers can reach. Minnie Riperton didn't just reach them, she made them sound effortless, beautiful, completely otherworldly. The song started as a lullaby. Minnie and her husband Richard Rudolph would sing it to their baby daughter Maya to help her fall asleep every night.
No one else can make me feel the color.
Stevie Wonder was producing Minnie's album. He heard them singing it and insisted they record it. At the end, you can hear Minnie softly singing Maya, Maya, Maya.
Took me way back down memory lane.
That baby grew up to become Maya Rudolph, the beloved actress and Saturday Night Live star. Lovin' You hit #1 in April 1975. Tragically, Minnie was diagnosed with breast cancer in 1976. She died in 1979 at just 31, but her voice lives on. One of the most beautiful songs ever recorded.
Love with you is all I wanna.
#2, The Night the Lights Went Out in Georgia by Vicki Lawrence, 1973. Nobody expected this. Vicki Lawrence was the young comedian from The Carol Burnett Show, plucked from obscurity because she looked like young Carol. She did sketch comedy, not music.
Stop at Webb's and have him a drink before he went home to her.
Then she released this dark, dramatic murder ballad that told the story of a man wrongfully executed for a crime his sister actually committed. The twist ending shocked listeners.
Andy Warlow said hello, and he said hi.
The narrative was gripping, and Vicki Lawrence's performance was far more powerful than anyone could have anticipated from a television comedienne.
No backwoods southern lawyer. 'Cause the judge.
Written by Bobby Russell, her husband at the time. It reached #1 for 2 weeks in April 1973. Reba McEntire covered it, taking it back to #1 in 1991.
Him a drink before he went home to her.
Vicki never had another pop hit, but she didn't need one. Her television career continued, eventually creating the beloved character Mama. For one moment, she proved she could surprise everyone.
Sit down, I've got some bad news, it's gonna hurt.
Number 1, You Light Up My Life by Debbie Boone, 1977. 10 weeks. That's how long this sat at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. 10 consecutive weeks, a record that stood for years, the biggest song of 1977, the biggest of the entire decade.
Song, so many.
Debbie Boone was Pat Boone's daughter, the squeaky clean 50s teen idol. She'd been singing gospel with her sisters, no solo career to speak of, nobody expected much.
So many dreams.
The song had been recorded first by another singer for an obscure movie soundtrack. When they needed a commercial single, they turned to Debbie. The producer was incredibly specific. He made her copy the original vocal inflection for inflection. She later called it one of the most difficult experiences of her life, but the result was pure magic. The lyrics worked as love song or religious song. Debbie intended the latter. Christians embraced it. Pop radio played it constantly. She won Best New Artist, then vanished from the charts. 15 women, 15 songs, 15 moments of pure magic. The adult film star stranded in Jamaica, the comedian with a murder ballad, the mother's lullaby for baby Maya. They may have only had one shot at the top, but what a shot it was. If you enjoyed this trip through music history, hit that subscribe button and join our community. Leave a comment and tell us, which song takes you right back to the 70s? Thanks for watching. Keep the music playing.